Hey everybody, my name is Cameron. I've been a resident of Huntsville, Alabama for the last 17 years, and I'm going to show you a video of the downtown Huntsville area and give you a little bit of kind of knowledge of the area, the economy of Huntsville, the lifestyle, the different attractions, why people live here, population, demographic, and a few other fun little tidbits and facts, as well as my experience living here. A little bit of history on Huntsville. It was first established in 1805 by a man named John Hunt. It's the oldest town in Alabama, and it was actually its temporary capital of Alabama for a while until it got moved to Montgomery. When NASA started in the late 1950s, its headquarters moved here. In 1960, Marshall Space Flight Center was established, led by a German rocket scientist named Werner von Braun. If you love rocket history, if you love NASA history, a lot of it happened here. In fact, in 1958, the first American satellite was launched into orbit from Huntsville. And that's why we get the name Rocket City as our nickname. Now let's talk about the population of Huntsville. As of mid 2025, 249,000 people currently live in Huntsville. This makes it the most populated city of Alabama. Since 2020, over 34,000 people have moved here to the city, mostly due to the healthy job market in the high-tech, defense, and automotive industries that I'll talk about a little bit later. The Huntsville metro area has an estimated 550,000 people total living here. Right now you see me walking through downtown Huntsville. This is the kind of the heart of Huntsville. A lot of stuff happens downtown, and we're actually walking up towards my favorite coffee shop. They have a lot of acai bowls, lattes, coffees. It's really cool, hip area, and it's one of my favorite spots. As far as the demographics go, for Alabama, it's pretty fairly diverse. 58% of people here are white, 30% black, 6% two or more races, 2% Asian, and the rest are other races like Native American and Pacific Islander. And I'll also throw up the age demographic for you to see. Some attractions of Huntsville include the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, which also houses Space Camp, Botanical Gardens, Low Mill Arts and Entertainment District, if you love anything art related, historical areas like Twickenham, and the outdoor recreation at Montesano, which has tons of walking trails and views over Huntsville City. Now, why do people live here and move here? There's three areas that typically are the reasons. One is abundant job opportunities in tech, aerospace, and research. Two is the affordable living and lower property taxes than the rest of the US. And three, high quality of life with a diverse culture and outdoor activities available. Huntsville's known for having a small town charm with big city amenities, known for being affordable with low unemployment. Now, let's talk about the economy of Huntsville. The median household income is between $70,000 and $77,000 per year. The per capita income is around $44,524. The poverty rate is 9.8% of people live below the poverty line. The unemployment rate, depending where you look, is between 2 and 3%. The average rent of an apartment costs between $1,100 and $1,500 per month, which is the second highest rent price range for Alabama. The first highest being in the Daphne Fairhope area down in South Alabama. Right now, you see me walking around some restaurants, cafes. On Friday nights and Saturday nights, it's really busy down here. A lot of date nights happen, a lot of get together with friends. A lot of events do happen down here as well. And, for being downtown, it's actually very safe, uh, very chill atmosphere, a lot of music playing, very good time out. Now, let's talk about the cost of living down here in Huntsville. The median home price ranges between $350,000 and $400,000, which is significantly lower than many other cities in the Southeast. Utilities usually cost between $150 to $250 for a single family home, while the internet costs here around $60 to $100 depending on the speed. Food expenses are about 8.8% lower than the national average, with monthly grocery costs around $365 for an individual and $1,185 for a family. Let's talk about transportation. Transportation costs around 8% higher than the national average, with gas prices around $2.87 per gallon. But many residents enjoy shorter commutes, which helps keeps transportation expenses manageable. Like for me, for example, I've never had to drive more than 25 minutes to work. Currently, I work about 20 minutes from my home. Healthcare costs in Huntsville around 15% lower than the national average, making medical care generally affordable. The only hospital really now is Huntsville Hospital. With only one hospital available, choices can be limited, so that needs to be taken into account. On average, it's estimated to cost around $2,450 per month for a single person and $5,400 for a family of four, making it only 1% lower than the national average. Overall, Huntsville offers a relatively low cost of living compared to many major cities, making it an attractive option for individuals and families. The combination of affordable housing, lower utility costs, and reasonable food prices contribute to its appeal as one of America's least expensive cities to live in. Now, downtown Huntsville, in this area, there's something that happens in September and October called the Huntsville Ghost Walks, where these historians and experts in Huntsville history will take groups around to different areas where there have been ghost sightings, murders, anything like that, and it's fun for like the Halloween season. Now, to live comfortably in Huntsville, a single adult with no kids needs to be making around $64,000 a year before taxes. For a family of four to live comfortably, you need to be making between $112,000 and $113,000. Right now, I'm walking around Town Square, and in the center of Town Square is the Madison County Courthouse. And I'm also showing the old time feel of the downtown architecture, businesses around here. And here you can see we're going down towards Big Spring Park. You can see Domain South, one of my favorite restaurants I go to every once in a while. But yeah, Big Spring Park, here we go down to one of my favorite areas of Huntsville. A little bit of history about Big Spring Park. The park was built around its namesake, Big Spring, as the original water source for the city of Huntsville. In the 19th and 20th century, the spring was Huntsville's water source due to its massive flow. It had around 7 to 20 million gallons of fresh water. While I walk through the park, let's talk about the education of the city. As far as education goes, Huntsville boasts one of the better educational statistics. The city's high school graduation rate stands at 90.5%, indicating a high level of educational achievements among its residents. Around 41% of residents aged 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher. Now, as we walk into Big Spring Park proper, let's talk about some of the events that happen in this park. One is Panoply, which is a giant art festival held in April, where over 100 artists and art vendors come from around the region, and they come to show off and sell their work. Also involved are 20 plus musical acts and many food trucks. If you love anything artsy, you definitely would want to check it out. I've been a few times and it's awesome. Another popular event is held every summer and is called Concert in the Park. Live musical performances perform and are free to the public. Depending on the week, you can hear bands play rock and roll, pop, country, bluegrass, jazz, and even some swing music. People typically bring their fold out chairs, their picnic blankets, and their families as a fun outdoor activity. In a similar vein of Concert in the Park, they also do movies in the park, where every week, I think it is, it's been a while since I've been, but they will show movies in the park and they'll have it listed on the movies they'll have each week. And it's yet another thing that families can come out and do for an outdoor activity. As you can see here, there are a ton of ducks in the park. They are not skittish around humans. You can get pretty close. They love being fed. There are little stations around where you can put in a quarter and get proper duck food and feed them. So if you like a lot of ducks around, you'll enjoy it. Another activity that happens here are the food truck rallies. Usually they happen between May and October, and they're on the road in between the smaller and bigger park. You'll have at least a dozen food trucks, and they'll block off the section of the street so everyone can get access to the food trucks, and they also have live bands playing. The last event I'll talk about is Tinsel Trail. Every December, around 100 or so Christmas trees are put up around the park and decorated by local companies and organizations. The Christmas music is always playing. There will be a few food trucks that give you hot chocolate and other things you would want in the cold. Also, in December, you'll find an outdoor temporary ice skating rink, and it's a fun time to bring your kids and couples and families. Now, some of the pros and cons of living in Huntsville. Let's go over some of the pros. One of the pros is the proximity to other cities. If you like going to other cities, this would be a good spot for you. Nashville, Tennessee is about a 2 hour drive from here. Birmingham, Alabama is about an hour and a half. Atlanta, Georgia, around 3 to 3.5 hour drive, depends how fast you're going. And one of my favorite areas is Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's about an hour and a half from here. Also, the Florida beaches are about 5 to 6 hour drive from Huntsville. Another pro of living here are the ample job opportunities, especially if you work in the tech field, defense, medical field, automotive, or really any of the STEM fields like science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. You also have military operations like the Department of Defense, Missile Defense Agency, and of course, NASA is a huge employer here. As for me, I have an engineering degree in mechanical engineering. I've been working in the engineering field for the last 11 years. I've worked for multiple engineering companies around here because there are ample opportunities for engineers like me. Some of the better known engineering companies that are here are Blue Origin, Aerojet Rocketdyne, United Launch Alliance, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and Lockheed Martin. And a big employee on the medical side is Huntsville Hospital. They're always looking for nurses, and it's a big operation here. On the automotive side, we have the Mazda Toyota manufacturing plant that develops a ton of engines for their cars. Also, Polaris and GE Aviation. Another pro of living here is if you love sports. Now, Alabama doesn't really have any major league or national league anything, but the next best thing is minor league sports. So Huntsville boasts a minor league baseball team, soccer team, and hockey team. I personally love the Huntsville Havoc, the local hockey team, and I go to their games multiple times a month. Another pro of living here is there are plenty of food options for all tastes. So if you love Southern comfort food, Japanese, Indian, Italian, Thai food, burger spots. If you love just fast food, there's plenty of that. Also, I love coffee shops. There's plenty of those here, breweries, and bars. And the final pro of living here, like I said earlier, the overall lower cost of living. Now, let's talk about some of the cons of living here. The first con, and I've experienced this for many years here, the uncomfortable weather. So, you should expect super high temperatures in the summer, easily 95 degrees or above for many weeks during the summer. Now, during the winter, expect usually fairly mild with some snow maybe every few days each winter. Now, being that we are in the tornado alley, expect tornadoes fairly commonly during the spring and fall seasons when they happen. Now, us Alabamians are used to them. Usually, if we see a tornado watch, then we're just like, whatever. And now we only care about it if it turns into a tornado warning and we hear the tornado sirens, then we start paying attention. Another con of living here is the limited nightlife scene. Not a ton of places are open super late here. Most places usually close around 10 p.m. There are very few late night clubs and bars here, and some clubs don't really have the best reputation. So if you're looking for the late night club scene, you might have to go to Nashville or Birmingham or even Atlanta, because this isn't really that kind of late night debauchery scene. Now here you can see us walking to the Huntsville Madison County Veterans Memorial. You can see a bunch of statues, plaques, and flags. There's also a museum here, and if you go around, there's a trail that shows all different types of military men and women. But I didn't walk that way this time. All right, back to the cons. Another con of living here is getting mental health help. This might just be a southern thing, but I've talked to a number of people that have tried to get help for their mental illness, their mental issues, um, and it is a struggle trying to get proper care for mental health. Now, people complain about the traffic a lot here. With the large influx of people coming into the city, the traffic and congestion in certain areas has noticeably increased. Now, with this influx of people, the city hasn't really created the infrastructure to combat this congestion. So, if you're coming into the Huntsville in the mornings to go to work, you're going to notice that the traffic is backed up. As when you leave, you're going to see the same thing when you leave. So, that can be an issue. This can be either a pro or con, wherever your stances are, but this place is very religious and very conservative. Christianity, specifically some form of Baptist, is the majority here. But with people moving from other parts of the country, it's slowly reducing the conservative values and aspects of the area. But if you're into churches, there's plenty of churches around here you can choose from. Also, there's a big emphasis on college football. And down here, you're either rooting for Alabama or you're rooting for Auburn. There's no other way. Another potential con of living here are the big booms and loud noises and the shaking of buildings you'll find here. With Redstone Arsenal nearby, be prepared to hear all this with the amount of training and testing that goes on the base. For example, NASA does a lot of what's called static fire testing, where they'll start rocket engines and test them. You're going to hear that no matter where you are in the city, no matter how many miles you are. You're going to feel a boom or you're going to feel a shake, and you're just going to have to get used to that. Yeah, so that's the tour around downtown Huntsville. I hope you guys learned something. I hope I could be entertaining and educational. So I appreciate you guys watching my video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.